Welcome back to You Can Do It. So today we're going to show you how to bleed the clutch on a KTM 300. How to bleed the clutch and obviously bleed the system and get it all working. So let's get straight to the point then. So first of all, obviously your clutch is on this side. I've already undone them, but I'm just going to show you. So basically get your handlebars, twist them so that they're actually, this is actually flat, and it just helps you out here. So then obviously undo these two here, yeah, take that out. Now what I like to do is wipe all that down with a clean rag, yeah, and then, okay, I've wiped that down with a bit of tissue paper here. Just be careful that you don't lose your little bolts, because they can fall out quite easily. So let's put that there. Back to here, there you see, so you're basically getting your reservoir sort of flat. Now you've got two options. You can either like put some tissue in there, suck it out, put a syringe here, suck it out, or you can pump it all through. So I'm going to sort of do a combination of both. I'm just going to put my dirty, if you haven't got a lot of tools, just going to put my dirty tissue in there, and that'll soak up loads of that fluid, and I can bin that, and then I'll see how much that'll soak up. See, look, that's already soaked up a lot of it. So if you haven't got all a syringe or anything, just soak it up with a bit of tissue. So I'm just going to get on that and soak up what I can out of there. Fresh bit of tissue, look, and I've basically cleaned that right out now. So what we're going to do now is fill this up with fresh fluid, and then we can pump it through the system, and we'll have air obviously between the good and the new and the old, but that's good because we can see where we start bleeding it. Okay, so now that's all nice and clean, so I'm going to fill it up with a nice new 5.1. Don't obviously mix 5 with any other stuff, because it's based on a different structure, so just use 5.1. This is the latest spec, so just use that. Okay, I'm putting in my nice Motorex 5.1, so I will need 2 hands for that, so I'm just going to fill that up. I'll be back in a minute. I've topped that up there, you can see that's full. I always put the lid back on this while you're messing around, because you want to keep it sort of secure for as long as possible. You don't want to get any moisture in there, or as little as possible. So right now I'm going to start bleeding the system. Now what I use, I've got a Mitivac, but obviously it's not with me at the moment. So what I use is I always carry these around in my toolbox for the bike, is syringes, which you can pick up off the internet, and then I've got actually a little thing here which came from the Mitivac, but that just pops on the bleeder, which basically means that I can actually suck the fluid out like that, and it keeps it all in here, and then when I've finished I can just squeeze it into a container and dispose of it. So really cheap and effective way of bleeding your system. So let's get on. Okay, so this is our normally that's on there obviously, so take off your rubber protection thing. Then you want an 8mm spanner that fits on there, so you can tighten and loosen it at the same time, or you can use that side with a ratchet that you can actually adjust here. If you've got a ratchet that you can't adjust here and you have to turn this over, then you obviously have to take your bleeder off, which I don't like doing. So I get spanners with this, so I can do it without taking the spanner off. Okay, so first things first, we'll push our little connector on. Right, it's very difficult to do this one-handed. Put that on there, and then we'll just lightly break that off. So that's just broken the seal. Look, you can see some fluids coming there, and then we can suck. It's a bit hard to do this with 2 hands, but you can see, look, I've got the old fluid coming out there. So again, I've just topped up the reservoir, so just break that a little bit there, and then come up here and pull your lever, and as you pull your lever you can see the fluid coming out, but don't obviously run the reservoir dry. So look, the reservoir's getting low very quickly, so I'm now just going to fill that up. Ideally you want a second syringe to fill up the reservoir from, but I've only got this one, so look, there you are, just filled the reservoir down here. So if I pull the lever, look, you can see it coming through. Back up here, There we are. I don't seem to have any air now, so we're into good. Close that off. Right, and then go back up here. So I'm just going to top the reservoir up again and just keep doing that. Just make sure that you get no air bubbles. Once the no air bubbles come out, then you know you're good to go. So look, I've got the old dirty stuff there. You can see the colour of that. I've now got clear stuff here. Ideally, if you've got 2 of these, you can actually suck up fresh, clean brake fluid, and you can just fill your reservoir up from there. It's a lot less messy. But anyway, so I'm just going to keep going like this until I've got absolutely no bubbles coming out of there. So you basically, just to recap, you open up your valve, you pump your lever a few times, making sure that your reservoir's still got fluid in it, and then as you're pumping one stroke, just tighten this back up again so that you've got fluid coming out as you tighten it up, and then you know you haven't got any pullback air in there. So yeah, I'm going to get on and do that, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so that's done now. So yeah, I was pumping that, no air comes out, and there's a little bit of an air bubble there now, which is going back up, and that's just because of the seal here. But that's why, make sure that's on tight, and that's why I like to I like to pump the lever so the fluid's going that way as I tighten that up, because then I know I've got no air. Because if you just close it off without having fluid going this way, then there is a very small chance you can get air being sucked back in. But that's all been done now, so the lever feels good. I've topped the reservoir up. I need to put a little bit more in. Yeah, feels good. You can hear it pulling the clutch, pushing the clutch. So I'm going to top that up, and then we'll put the top back on. Okay, don't fill this right to the top, because when you put this back in, it pushes. There's a lot of volume here in this rubber, so just make sure it's a couple of millimeters beneath the surface. Make sure you get your cap on the right way. So you can see you've got like chamfers on the bottom there, and they go on the reservoir this way. Look, so make sure you get that cap on. Get the rubber and the cap the right way around. So that's just about right, because I want to push that down. Look, you've got a bit of fluid coming out, so I know that's going to be totally full when I put the cap on. So then, same again with the cap. Make sure you get it the right way around, and we'll put that on. Okay, make sure you got some rag around there, just in case it drops onto the floor. But get your little screwdriver. Now, as you tighten that up, you're going to see fluid come out, because that tells me it's totally full. So tighten that up gently with your screwdriver. I'm just doing it by hand there, and then you wipe around it, and you know you've got a totally full reservoir. Check obviously that you don't have any leaks down here, then you're good to go. Look, you have a very tiny, well, you can see it down there, but you've got very under there, roughly where my finger is, you've got a tiny little vent hole under there. So when you tighten this down, if you see some bubbles and fluid coming out the little hole there, don't worry, that's exactly what it's supposed to do. So that's all done now. So check the lever, working great. So last thing to do is to take this off. And the great thing about the syringe is all the old stuff is caught in there, and it's not going to be pissing all over the floor or anything. So wipe up this, get that nice and clean. Before you put the lid on, obviously go up and pull your lever, operate the clutch. I'm operating the clutch now a few times just to check there's not actually any leaks there, which is not. So I can now put the lid back on again. There we are, and she's all good. You just keep an eye on that for the next, when you make sure that no fluid appears. But she's good to go. So you've done it. You've bled your clutch on your bike, all ready to go and rip some dirt. You can do it. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you want to learn more. Hope this is of help. See you soon. Bye.